Thank you, Reverend Sister Manikyam. Thank you, Reverend Sister Linda. Thank you, Reverend Sister Nakshitram. Thank you, Madam Swarupa Rani. And our guests of honor, Mrs. Nisha Agarwal and Deborah Rani. Mrs. Deborah Rani. Thank you for spreading the light in our campus and seeking the blessings of the Almighty on this august and solemn occasion of the graduation ceremony of our institution for the first time in the history of our institution since its inception in the year 1959.
In this magical evening,
shows us way out of our problems, fears, tensions and unhappiness. Shubham karoti kalyanam, arogyam dana sampada, shatru buddhi vinashaya, deepa jyoti namastute. This means we fold our hands before the light that brings prosperity, auspiciousness, good health,
With love in our hearts, with joy in our lives.
captivating, swaying moments. Children, you really deserve a big round of applause. Come on, the audience, put your hands together for them. Mrs. Celestine to escort Reverend Sister to the dais. The brain behind the administration of a gigantic and esteemed institution, ST.PIUS 10 with a glorious history, is our principal, Reverend Sister Linda Gerald. A person of few words, sober temperament, very spiritual and dynamic, has a super spirit of innovation, flair for perfection, zeal and enthusiasm. I welcome you, sister, to the dais. A big round of applause and honor for our principal to be present on the stage. Audience, a big round of applause for our principal, Reverend Sister Linda Gerald. We are all aware that the success of any educational institution depends on the principal. The principal, Reverend Sister Linda, is a driving force who manages, coordinates, guides and supervises various activities of the educational institute. It is my honor once again to invite our sister to present the welcome address on this august occasion.
There is nothing better than expressions in words. On the pleasant eve of kindergarten graduation ceremony, I am delighted to offer a gracious welcome to one and all. Every celebration is spicy experience. The external fades away and the internal linger. This thrill-filled event is milestones on the journey of the budding children to bloom. This graduation event encourages the children to motivate to achieve the historic performance. We believe that each student is unique, blended with special capabilities and unlimited talents to shine. I take great privilege to extend warm greetings and felicitations to the most honorable President, respected Chief Guest and inspiring guest of honor, well-wishers, respected and downtrodden. Eventually, this was an inspiration for the foundation of Congregation of Catechist Sisters of St. Anne. As a famous quote goes, beauty attracts the eye, but personality captures the heart. We have a stunning personality in our midst who captures the hearts of the people by her very personality, that is none other than Reverend Sister Monicum, the Vice Provincial of St. Joseph Province, Hyderabad, and Principal of ST.PIUS Junior College, Ramnagar. I applaud her intellectual administrative capacities and her religious commitment and punctuality. I am extremely proud to say firmly that with your love and loyalty, with your enlightened knowledge and daring disposition as sword, you are a real warrior at your service. In recognition to all your services, I am delighted to welcome you, dear sister, to this startling event of ours. We welcome you, dear sister Monikam, the president of the event, to grace the honor. You are welcome, dear sister.
I request Mrs. Audrey, a senior teacher from the kindergarten, to escort Reverend Sister G. Manikyam, the president of today's kindergarten graduation ceremony, the vice provincial, the principal of ST.PIUS Junior College, onto the dais. I request our dear audience to give them a big round of applause. I invite our principal to honor and felicitate Reverend Sister G. Manikyam with a shawl. Audience, please applaud for our president of today's function. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, sister, for that wonderful honoring. I now take pleasure and delight to invite Reverend Sister Sirisha, the in charge of the kindergarten Pasquale block, to honor Reverend Sister Manikyam with a memento. Yes, a round of applause for our Reverend Sister Manikyam and Sister Sirisha, and Mrs. Shaurilu, the primary staff secretary, to honor our president of today's ceremony with a beautiful bouquet, Mrs. Shaurilu. Yes, that was a wonderful floral welcome by our primary secretary, Mrs. D. Shaurilu. Audience, come on, give them a big round of applause. Thank you, sister.
The highest patriotism is not a simple acceptance of official policy, but to serve the society with spirit of hard work and dedication, who makes the path for others to follow and inspire people to reach higher. This quote rightly suits to our honorable chief guest, most respected Srimati Swarupa Rani, Deputy IOS, Mushirabad Mandal 1, Hyderabad, for paving the path of education to many and inspiring them to reach higher with her hard work and dedication. She is the most senior teacher in the Mandal and has been given the in charge as Deputy IOS. We are very much delighted to have you as our chief guest of the day. Hearty welcome, ma'am. I request teacher Shailaja to escort ma'am.
A big round of applause for our chief guest, Mrs. Swarupa Rani. Our senior teacher, Mrs. Shailaja, escorting our chief guest of today's graduation kindergarten ceremony. Thank you, madam. I now take this privilege to invite Reverend Sister Emalata, in charge of the primary section, to honor and felicitate our chief guest, Mrs. Swarupa Rani, with a shawl. A big round of applause, dear audience. I invite Mrs. Jacinta Jayanti, our senior most teacher, to felicitate our chief guest with a memento. I request the audience to applaud for all of them, please. I think they really deserve it. And Mrs. Monica will present the bouquet to our chief guest, Mrs. Swarupa Rani. that is a beautiful floral welcome for our chief guest of today's graduation ceremony, Mrs. Swarupa Rani.
Good lawyers know the law, great lawyers know the judge. I am honored to invite today's guest of honor, Srimati Nisha Agarwal, the Associate Advocate. She is a resourceful, growth-oriented person with a balanced life approach. She handles the responsibilities of petitions at High Court, Civil Court and Criminal Court in Hyderabad. She understands, handles the clients and provides them proper suggestions and remedies. She is well experienced person as practicing advocate and guest professor at Law College. I am honored to welcome you, a renowned celebrity with exemplary contribution and commitment. We welcome you, ma'am.
I invite Mrs. Grace Vanilla to escort our guest of honor, Mrs. Nisha Agarwal. She is our ex-student of the 1999 batch. Mrs. Grace Vanilla, senior teacher, escorting Mrs. Nisha Agarwal onto the dais. A wonderful moment. Thank you, Mrs. Nisha Agarwal. I invite Mrs. Celestine, our senior staff member of the kindergarten Pasquale block, to honor Madam Nisha Agarwal with a shawl, beautiful shawl. A big round of applause. Yes, the audience, cheer them up. Mrs. Grace Vanilla will present a beautiful memento as a tribute to Mrs. Nisha Agarwal. A beautiful memento to Mrs. Nisha Agarwal by Mrs. Grace Vanilla. A big round of applause. Put your hands together, dear audience. And Mrs. Caroline Santos, our senior staff member of the Pasquale block, will honor her with a floral welcome. They deserve a big round of applause. That was really wonderful.
The fragrance of flowers spread only in the direction of the wind, but the goodness of a person spreads in all directions. We are delighted to extend warm welcome to today's guest of honor, Srimati Deborah Rani, AVP team leader. She is the best manager to handle the resource management and cost budget for the entire bank globally. She helps people in uplifting their skills in their current role for their career progress. Ma'am, your matured mind, kind heart and dutiful actions are recognized by many. We are indeed very grateful to you, ma'am, for being available for today's event. I extend my cordial welcome, ma'am.
I invite Mrs. Grace Margaret to escort Mrs. Deborah Rani, our guest of honor, to the dais. Mrs. Grace Margaret. Mrs. Grace Margaret escorting Mrs. Deborah Rani, our guest of honor. Thank you, Mrs. Deborah Rani and Mrs. Grace Margaret. I now deem it a pleasure to invite Mrs. M. Shailaja, our senior teacher, to felicitate Mrs. Deborah Rani, our guest of honor, with a shawl. I request the audience to cheer them up. A moment of pride. She is our ex-student too. Mrs. Joshna Raj will present her a beautiful memento. Joshna Raj, staff of the kindergarten Pasquale block, and yes, thank you, Mrs. Jyotsna, and I invite Mrs. Rekha to make the floral welcome. She is also the staff member of the kindergarten block, Pasquale block.
Her silence speaks many volumes, her gentleness grabs many hearts, and prayerfulness empowers many lives, and her motherly nature carries away all our unwantedness. It is none other than our correspondent, Reverend Sister Nakshatram Tumma. She is the backbone, moral support, and spiritual strength to all of us. So, I grab this chance of welcoming our dear correspondent, Sister Nakshatram Tumma, on the dais, and to energize this campus with her silent and radiating smiles. We welcome you, dear sister.
I request Catholic teacher to escort Reverend Sister Nakshatram. Grace Nathan, staff secretary and the senior most teacher, to felicitate with the shawl to Reverend Sister Nakshatram. Audience, please give them a big round of applause. I request Mrs. Arogya, Sheila and Mrs. Radhika to felicitate with the flower.
Today, indeed, it is much awaited, eventful, thrill-filled, full of eager energy, enthusiasm for all the blooming buds of kindergarten. Once again, I extend my welcome to all and proud to have you all with us. Thank you and God bless you all.
I also deem it a privilege and great delight to honor the backbone and the superpower of our institution, the principal, Reverend Sister Linda. I now invite Mrs. D. Kalyani. Madam, deserves it. A superwoman, a woman of spirituality, sober temperament, a very good administrator, and the brain behind this wonderful innovative planning program. I invite Mrs. Audrey to honor our principal with a memento. Audience, please cheer for our principal, the organizer for today's program, the innovative planning with bird's eye for detail, a very meticulous planning. And I invite Mrs. Evangeline to honor our principal with a floral welcome. Yes, that was a wonderful moment. Audience, she really deserves it, our principal. A big round of applause. Music, please. Music, Thank you, sister, for that wonderful welcome address. Your inspiring words were really appealing to all of us. I thank all our guests for coming onto the dais and accepting and consenting our invitation. God bless you in all your endeavors. For the glory of God and our alma mater. I now request our guests to kindly come and take their respectable positions onto their chairs. Thank you, dear guests. It was really wonderful having you amidst us and creating memorable moments in the epoch of the history of St. Pius today.
Provided to the students and highlighting their performance. We have our teachers, Mrs. Monica and Mrs. Sheila, to enlighten you in brief of the events. Mrs. Monica, Mrs. Sheila and Mrs. Grace Nathan, teacher, to enlighten you in brief of the events.
Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Said by a great philosopher, Aristotle. Good education can change anyone, but a good teacher can change everything. A pleasant good evening to the esteemed dignitaries on the dais, Reverend Sisters, distinguished guests, parents, well-wishers and my dear students. I, Mrs. Monica and Mrs. Arogya Sheila will enlighten you with a concise report of the activities of St. Pius 10 Kindergarten, Ramnagar, Hyderabad for the academic year 2022-23. 10 High School, with its inception in 1959, for 6 decades has been rendering education by the pioneers of the CSA congregation, not only to provide knowledge, develop a logical attitude and enhance the capability of the child, but also enhance the social and moral values and thereby making a student more sensible, tolerant, helpful and empathetic. Being well aware of the fact that children in present times are more sensitive with a high self-esteem and proactive independent thinking, the educators of St. Pius 10 Kindergarten get the best out of the children through the positive reinforcement of good work and behavior. We at St. Pius 10 firmly believe that every child is unique in nature with varying needs, and hence we foster a conducive environment full of love, motivation, physical, intellectual and development rather than fear and punishment in the process of education. Every learning opportunity to shape the student's future is inculcated that enrich teaching and learning high quality values, thereby providing a plethora of platforms to draw out the innate talents of our children, which is the prime principle of Father Silvio Pasquale, after whom the inception of the name Pasquale Block was constituted for the kindergarten. Motto. Our school motto is love, joy, service. Love, joy and service are the necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. St.PIUS X Kindergarten was established by the society called the Catechist Sisters of St. Anne, and Reverend Father Silvio Pasquale founded the institution with a mission and a vision to provide education to the marginalized and the downtrodden. The vision of our education is to learn, possess good ethics, develop new ideas, pursue a godly destiny. Preceptors of our kindergarten, your focus determine your reality. The efficacy of good administration can be attributed to the principal and the correspondent. St.PIUS X Kindergarten, which is under the exemplary leadership of our principal, Reverend Sister Linda Gerald, believes that every child is a unique divine creation of the Almighty blessing. We have been able to accomplish our ideas and goals only with the proactive leadership of our principal, the brain behind the smooth functioning of the kindergarten, who is very enthusiastic and creative. The correspondent, Reverend Sister Nakshatram, is also a visionary of great commitment, a storehouse of knowledge. Reverend Sister Sirisha, the in charge of the kindergarten block, is an epitome of diligence, grit and perseverance to produce the best out of her tiny tots. Teaching is the profession that teaches all the other profession. The kindergarten comprises of 15 staff members. Just as a ship cannot move without a sail, education is incomplete without the teachers. They play a vital role in discharging, learning and education with a great commitment, zeal and enthusiasm around the clock, with amazing potentiality to nurture the best in their tiny tots so that they are ultimately refined into beautiful human beings. Teaching approach. Ambition is a path to success. Persistence is a vehicle you arrive in. The basic goal of kindergarten education is teaching through a play-way method, thereby developing law of learning. This educational approach is designed to make the tiny tots experience the transition from home to school environment. They are taught a varied of subjects very apt for them, like phonetics. It is related to a study of speech, sounds. They are used in English language. The preschooler learn to read step by step, starting with the basic structures or rules of the language. The teachers, with their innovative skills, teach the articulation of phonetics with great effort and patience. Now, I invite my colleague, Mrs. Sheila, to enlighten about other activities.
I request our audience to kindly watch the beautiful PowerPoint presentation of our school report. We'll be highly privileged.
Number work. Fun with numbers help a tiny tots to become an expert in the study of mathematics. They are taught in creative methodology like counting fingers and toes, counting out numbers on the charts and blackboards, reading number books, working with puzzles, getting number toys, etc. Nature study. Love for environment is important in the universe, is nurtured in them in a colorful way. The teachers use a method which is a great way for kids to learn about the natural world through the hands-on time. outside exploring, etc. The teachers make the methodology of teaching very lively, attractive, and interesting through pictures, objects, colors, colorful drawings on the blackboard, etc. Recitation. Poetry comes alive only through the act of recitation. Kindergarten is incomplete without the act of recitation. Recitation is taught by our facilitators in the kindergarten with a great rhythm, action, innovation, stress, music, sound, and beats, which is very helpful for the development of language, cognitive, and emotional skills in them. Drawing. Drawing is not what one sees, but what makes others see. The teachers follow an unique and exemplary way to teach drawing activities as it allows the tiny tots to explore colors, line curves, how lines can be used to draw shapes, patterns, and finally represent people, animals, and objects. The drawing by our little angels is a feast to the heart, soul, and mind. Thus, in this kind of educational involvement helps a major role in developing their motor skills, social skills, and prepare them for the elementary school. Learning involvement. Learning evaluation. Formative, summative assessments are conducted term-wise even in the tiny tots, which is a method used by the teachers to assess a student. Comprehension, learning needs, academic progress during particular lessons or units. It is rightly said that students' written work during the assessment is an authentic evidence of equality learning of teachers, students, and parents. In lieu with the assessment conducted, progress reports are issued periodically, hereby keeping a track on the students' performance for further improvement. These goals are set to reflect the program of the skills, behavior, and accomplishment that we expect children to meet at the end of the academic year. School assembly. Punctuality is not being on time. It is basically about respecting your own commitments. The day at school begins with the morning school assembly, where all the kindergarten children, like class-wise, take part conducting the prayer with the help of the class teachers. School assembly develops positive mindset to be on time to school. Children take part in the assembly exhibiting their talents, overcome self-consciousness, to develop an aesthetic sense and inculcate public speaking skills. The teachers cultivate self-confidence and motivation in students. We also foster a spirit of patriotism by taking pledge and singing national anthem in the school assembly every day. Parent-Teacher Association. It is arranged by the management to have teachers and parents meeting every month to motivate the overall well-being of the children in the school, home, and in the community. This kind of meet also propagates better understanding among parents and teachers and help them adapt themselves in the changing concept of the society. Staff seminars. The starting point of all achievement is desire to enhance the subject knowledge of teachers and improve their overall teaching skills. The management takes special care by periodically conducting various seminars in different subjects for the teachers throughout the academic year to improve their efficiency in teaching. Soft skills development programs are also conducted by our CSA management in the ST.PIUS 10th High School, ICSE Alwal, which our teachers attended in the month of August. Social service. Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice. It is rightly said, children are the messengers of God. When we had charity in the kindergarten block, in the month of December, the tiny tots with their tiny hands contributed very generously with the support of their parents. Provisions, cash, necessities in large measure, which was donated liberally to the Home for the Aged, the Mother Teresa, Home for the Destiny. We thank all the parents for your generosity, patronage towards the poor and the needy. Now I invite Mrs. Grace to please enlighten us further on the other activities.
ST.PIUS 10 institution is a pathbreaker not only in academic milestones but also in co-curricular activities. Fancy dress competition. Style is a way to say who you are without having to speak. To enhance creativity, imagination and build confidence, a fancy dress competition was conducted on 27th October 2022 for the students of